Live from our Seven Tasmania studios, your nightly news with Kim Miller begins now.
Good evening. Tasmanians have gathered at memorial services across the state, taking a moment to remember the men and women who served our country in times of war. Australia's Naval Chief was on hand to honour Victoria Cross recipient Teddy Sheehan, commemorating the war hero's heartbreaking act of courage.
The blue cloth comes off and a brave soul is immortalised. Edward Teddy Sheehan was a courageous Tasmanian seaman. He saved many lives when his ship was under attack in 1942, at just 18 years of age.
He was just a boy, but he did a man's job.
Awarded the Victoria Cross in 2020, he remains Australia's only naval recipient of the highest honour.
And I think it stands as a shining example to all Australians of what can be achieved regardless of your age, regardless of your rank.
Teddy's nephew on hand today, shedding a tear.
It's going to be there for generations and generations, for lots of people to get the Teddy story right through for a long time to come.
To work side by side with Gary Ivory and the family and the veterans for decades to achieve today and to give justice to Teddy is overwhelming.
It came as many gathered in a moment of silence across Tasmania to remember the horrors that have come before, marking 106 years since the end of World War I. In the state's capital, a stunning display of flowers serving as a special reminder, saluting the men and women who have made the ultimate sacrifice.
To be able to pause for just a moment to say thank you and to acknowledge that service and sacrifice, I think is totally appropriate.
Offering a chance to not only reflect on the past, but to acknowledge those currently fighting in battle.
The wars in Ukraine, the Middle East, the Sudan, and others are continuing sources of misery for all involved, including innocent civilians.
Paying our respects and looking after our veterans long after they looked after us. Lily Thompson, 7 Tasmania News.
The jumping castle at the centre of the Hillcrest tragedy was not manufactured or operated in accordance with Australian standards. That's according to an expert testifying at the court hearing, who believes the castle would not have become airborne had it been properly tethered.
Day 5 of this 2-week trial heard from experts who've been examining parts of the jumping castle, which was picked up by a gust of wind in 2021, leading to the deaths of 6 children. Rosemary Gamble, the castle's operator who's defending a health and safety charge, took assurances from the inflatables manufacturer it met Australian standards. But mechanical engineer Roderick McDonald, who sits on the panel which oversees the standards relating to amusement devices, says otherwise, telling the court the castle was not compliant with Australian standards, the operation was not compliant with Australian standards, and the systems had been modified for each anchorage point, saying the effect of this was the defeat of the anchorage system. The castle was secured at just 4 of 8 points, meaning only one side was properly fastened to the ground. Mr McDonald saying even if you had a tiny castle, you would still need at least 2 anchorage points per side. Mr McDonald also criticised the manner in which it had been set up, saying best practice is to pull the castle taut, hammer in the pins and then inflate it. Telling the court if the castle had been stretched out and all 8 pegs used, it would have prevented lift. His testimony will continue tomorrow. Earlier today, geotechnical engineer Sean Chahande described his tests of various pins on the oval at Hillcrest Primary School, finding the ones used on the day did not meet Australian standards for pull-out strength. Nick Kelly, 7 Tasmania News.
The Anglican Dean of Hobart has joined forces with independent Christy Johnston to launch a petition calling for the government to ensure mandatory pre-commitment cards are introduced as proposed and agreed to back in 2022. The move hoping to address the damage done by pokies ahead of Parliament resuming next week.
We want to see people who are caught up in the addiction of gambling have a way out to not make decisions that will lead to loss of relationships, loss of jobs and loss of income.
It's time that Tasmanians tell the government what they want, and quite clearly what they want is a mandatory pre-commitment card.
The government says it supports harm minimisation measures. The Greens say the release of a new report shows a need to strengthen our animal welfare laws. A task force was formed after footage allegedly showed animals being abused in abattoirs across Tasmania. But the Greens say it's not enough, calling for changes to the Animal Welfare
The
Act.
Act needs a complete overhaul, and we need to make sure that animal welfare advocates have a stronger voice at the table.
The government maintains it's committed to improving the treatment of animals and has accepted all 11 recommendations of the report. Just days before Tasmanian Supreme Court Justice Gregory Geeson learns his fate over serious offences, he is facing growing calls to step down. The 63-year-old was found guilty of assaulting and emotionally abusing a woman in the Hobart Magistrates Court last month.
Personally, I think that Justice Geeson should resign.
The case prompted Attorney General Guy Barnett to introduce a bill which would establish an independent body to remove a judge charged with an offence carrying at least 1 year prison sentence.
Labor Party supported that legislation throughout the Parliament, and we hope that there can be resolutions shortly.
The lower house is expected to vote on those laws in the next fortnight. The Premier has been accused of not being transparent when it comes to how much it will cost Tasmanian taxpayers to keep 2 Spirit ships in Scotland and who will foot the bill for the damages to one of the ships during recent storms.
There's a lot of money at stake here. There's been a lot of money already flushed down the toilet. Well, they need to be clear about where the money's going now.
The Deputy Premier says damage to the vessel is still being assessed. Fresh dentures can make a world of difference for those who need them, but getting them can be expensive, time-consuming and uncomfortable. Now, an award-winning Tasmanian program is hoping to bridge the gap using 3D printing technology.
Being fitted with dentures can be a long and tedious process. But now a team of Tasmanians have come up with a high-tech way to shorten wait times.
So with our digital dentures, we can obviously shorten the process by quite a lot, almost nearly by half, I'd say.
The process uses complex technology, scanning the mouth with pinpoint accuracy. From there, a digital design is made before being put into this machine to be milled into dentures.
It is a very comfortable process. A lot of the time, patients could almost fall asleep in the chair. That's how easy it is.
The 3D scan is then kept on file, making it easier to replace the dentures if lost or broken.
The dentures are also made digitally are more comfortable, precise and durable as well, so that's also a big benefit to our patients as well.
The team's innovative technology leading the nation.
As a public dental provider, we're actually the first in the nation to implement this service statewide.
Recently recognised for their achievements, the project taking out the top prize in a prestigious national award.
It was really exciting to be able to accept an award, especially for a project that we put so much time and energy into.
Providing a much needed boost for patients.
If you're, don't feel comfortable with your dental appearance, it can really impact your mental health and also your confidence as well.
Performing life-changing work, one tooth at a time. Lily Thompson, 7 Tasmania News.
It's no secret Tasmania produces some of the country's finest sparkling Chardonnay and Pinots, but now those drops are being put to the ultimate test. The Royal Hobart Wine Show kick-starting a long summer of grape-inspired events.
These judges have over 1,000 wine entries to taste over the next few days.
They give us no information other than the variety that we're judging and the year, if that's relevant.
Different classes of wine and brandy from across Australia being sipped by 4 different judging panels. Tasmania submitting over 200 entries.
There's a big range of wine styles and a big range of grape varieties, of course.
Pinot Gris and Tempranillo first up for taste testing. And while we won't know which are winning wines until Thursday, there are some common trends.
Let's say in the case of Chardonnay, Tassie isn't the only place to make great Chardonnay, but it's very consistently one of the best in the country.
This is only the start of the excitement for lovers of a top drop, with organisers from Tasmania's Wine Fest already deep in the planning ahead of its biggest ever event in February next year.
We've managed to almost double the amount of vineyards on offer. We've got some great entertainment options from Melbourne Ska Orchestra and Boil Up. and heaps of exciting things to be announced.
Revellers encouraged to pick the perfect pairing, oysters proving a very popular choice.
We're probably going to go somewhere around about 200 or 300 dozen, so yeah, it'll be good.
Ruby Cairns, 7 Tasmania News.
For the first time in the event's history, Tasmania is set to make an appearance in the National Pony Racing Series. The debut feature has young hopefuls hitting the training yards hard as they look to impress on the track.
Saddling up for a taste of the big time. The wait to take on the country's best is almost over.
Me and Tommy have been waiting a long time. There's been a lot of talk about it, but not much happening about it, but finally.
Previous fields have run without Tasmanian colours, but that's all about to change. Young riders will have the chance to feature in the National Pony Racing Series.
Games with Tommy, his strength is definitely speed.
We'll host the round here in February and give the young guys and girls an opportunity to fly around the racetrack, and yeah, hopefully we'll see someone head up to the finals.
The hotly anticipated trials will double as a curtain raiser to the Summer Carnival, making its debut ahead of the Kevin Sharkey Tasmanian Oaks race night on February 21.
To have the pony clubs here and the girls and boys are riding will be fantastic. Then lead into the week and we've got Launceston Cup on the Wednesday.
The series arrival also looking to connect pony clubs to the track, unlocking career opportunities in the thoroughbred industry from an early age.
They get to look at how we do it on course, and then hopefully they can progress into careers as track riders, jockeys, stable hands, trainers.
Victoria Risto, 7 Tasmania News. Cody Steers and his Chopperoos are world champions once again. The Tasmanian axemen helping Team Australia clinch their 5th consecutive world title. And if gold wasn't enough, the Chopperoos have set a new world record, carving a leading time of 43.15 seconds. Alex Peroni has ended his season on a high, taking out the Phonetic GT World Challenge Australia finale in a thrilling finish at Bathurst. A swag of penalties helping the Tassie driver and co-driver Mark Rosser clinch their 2nd victory of the season.
It was the most stressful I think I've ever been. I was a lot more cool in the car, so credit to Mark, credit to the team, and awesome way to end the year.
It wasn't enough to claim the overall title though, Will Brown and Brad Schumacher instead taking out top honours.
Good evening. Hobart and Launceston 19 today. Devonport reached 16. Burnie a top of 18 degrees. Temperatures range from -3 at Butler's Gorge to 22 at St Helens and Friendly Beaches. Ouse 21, Grove 20, Smithton and the Islands 19, Lowhead 18, Lyawini 17, Strawn a top of 15. No rainfall of any note as scattered cloud moved through Bass Strait today. On the bigger picture, a large area of cloud extends across the nation from the Kimberley with a little more over South Australia and Western Victoria. Tomorrow the high moves further east. A trough emanating from northern WA stretches down towards Tasmania, and the winds mostly variable into 15 knots but more east northeasterly and increasing over the east and southeast later in the day to possibly 30 knots. So we do have a strong wind warning for that region between Wineglass Bay and Tasman Island. Hobart Tuesday mostly sunny and 23, partly cloudy for Adventure Bay, 23 for Tarraleah, maybe a late shower. 50-50 chance of rain in the north, a shower for Launceston, 25, 20 the top for Devonport, at 21 maximum temperature for Bridport tomorrow. Burnie 20, a sunny morning, a shower later. Sunny for Strawn, 19 the maximum, 20 the top for Marrawar with a developing shower later. 21 for St Helens with a shower, Swansea 24 and 22 the top for Whitemark. On Wednesday a few showers over the north and west extending statewide before contracting to the northeast. Mainly fine on Thursday, a shower again over the west and northeast of the state, and on Friday fine and partly cloudy, maybe a shower or two over the northeast. Sunny and mid-20s for Perth and Adelaide tomorrow, a shower in Melbourne and Sydney, a possible storm over Canberra, 30 in Brisbane with showers and a storm there. And quite fine at the moment, 13 in Hobart, 16 right now in Launceston and a sunny 16 in Devonport currently. Kim, that wraps up. Remember and stay with her.
Okay, thanks Murph. See you tomorrow.